Let's start today's episode off by getting nerdy. We're going to talk about Section 922 of the Dodd-Frank Act and how it could make you millions of dollars. Just in case you're not a securities attorney, Section 922 of the Dodd-Frank Act states that whistleblowers who voluntarily provide original information leading to a successful enforcement action with over $1 million in sanctions are eligible to receive between 10 and 30% of the money collected. And one professional whistleblower has made a killing off going undercover and exposing financial fraud. And his story is utterly fascinating. He's targeting finfluencer vengeance. Let's start off by describing who this guy is. As you can probably guess, someone who makes a living by going undercover and reporting financial fraud probably won't be putting his face on a billboard anytime soon. But our vigilante named Richard Overum, according to the article, that could be an alias, Overum, over them, where he detailed his fascinating career that he made hunting business people that he suspects of breaking the law, and then using Section 922 to reap millions after they're tried and convicted. According to the article, he's reportedly made tens of millions of dollars doing this.
Well, howdy there folks, and welcome into today's video. This is a financial education channel.
So why is he going public with this story now? Because he knows that sooner or later, scammers will discover his identity, an outcome that he dreads. But he's taking good action to prevent that from happening. You can't really find any information on him outside of this article. I tried. And he even says in the article that he has no online presence. But he still realized that at some point the jig will be up and scammers will know his identity. So he's working on his contingency plan, which is when he inevitably gets discovered, he wants to create a sort of school to further expand the number of trained whistleblowers. He's quoted as saying that he wants to teach an army of people how to do this and send them off on stings. And I absolutely love this. I've spent the last 4 years building a company whose mission is to tangibly reduce the wealth gap by empowering individual investors and restoring stakeholder capitalism.
Oh, God. Oh, hey, didn't see you there. I was just making some money. Yeah, that's right. I figured out how to make money in my sleep.
I've been pitched life insurance policies and annuities that after I dug into, I learned that they were just a great way of earning the financial advisor that I was talking to a nice commission check. I believe that the financial ecosystem today is fraught with objectively trash investing advice at best.
You know, now that I have retired early, and today we are in Europe exploring Italy and Greece, one weird thing I realized is that I only spent about 5 years working.
And outright scams at the worst.
Hey guys, hope you're doing well. I grew up raised by a single mom, and I'm in a saltwater swimming pool on a chartered yacht.
And the system today rewards that behavior. One of the main forms for individual investors is Wall Street Bets, which promotes a YOLO strategy where people risk their entire life savings off of something that they don't fundamentally understand.
I don't know what you heard about me.
Or the rise of 0 days to expiration trading strategies, with some brokerages reaping the benefits of selling these incredibly risky options contracts. And that's just the beginning of how much bad investing advice there is. That doesn't even talk about the scams that are out there.
A major day ahead of us, man. I am pumped for it. I've been studying all night, hitting my research, getting the plays ready to go, and they are blue-collar options for those in my Discord.
I hate this story, but it's important to bring up. This couple that won the Powerball back in 2008, they won a $59.6 million after-tax jackpot. The lottery winner's granddaughter, Michaela, died at 2 years old of a rare disease called crab disease. The couple put $26.4 million of their winnings to fund a nonprofit, which its entire mission was to seek treatments for and support the families of children with crab disease. And since they didn't have a lot of investment experience, the couple's hired John Priebe to manage the family and the foundation's money. I'll say his name because he's a person. Of the $26 million the couple entrusted to John Priebe to manage, John Priebe sunk the foundation's assets into these variable annuities, which earned him, you guessed it, $1.2 million in commissions. So surely it must have performed well, right? After 6 years, that pool of money had shrunk, even though the general stock market had more than doubled during that period. So the foundation was basically paying this advisor to hurt their returns and make a nice living for himself.
Market ends green again, and there's that really interesting stat that I was reading about.
There's one really good defense against this. If anyone is offering you financial advice, you need to ask them one question. Are they operating as your financial fiduciary? because that is a legal definition. I think that this is the most important thing when looking for a financial advisor. It means that they legally and ethically cannot sell you anything and have to operate only in your best financial interest. You can also use tools like FINRA's broker check or the SEC's investment advisor public disclosure to ensure that any financial advisor is registered and in good standing. The bottom line, in my opinion, is we need to restore confidence in the system. Before we go hunting for fraudsters' pelts, let's talk about how to operate on the defensive. This is a sort of defense against the financial dark arts. First and foremost, knowledge is our best line of defense. I believe the days of the easy to detect frauds, something like a voicemail saying our car's extended warranty is about to expire, I think those days are just about over. With the rise of AI and deepfakes, financial scammers are getting more and more sophisticated by the day. So, remember the basics. We have Ponzi schemes.
What's a Ponzi scheme?
I took money from some people and I gave it to others and there's nothing left.
Which, at their core, rely on a principle called the greater fool theory. To best see if you're in a greater fool, if the only reason you're buying something is because you're being pitched that you'll one day be able to sell it to someone else at a higher price, then you might be finding yourself in a Ponzi scheme. Then there's also the classic pump and dump.
If you're drowning and I throw you a life jacket, would you grab it? Yes, good. Pick up 200 shares. I won't let you down.
Which is when someone hypes you up on something only for them to sell it without telling you and leave you holding the bag. We see this sometimes in a crypto rug pull, but it's a classic scam, like what we saw with the penny stocks of what the Wolf of Wall Street was doing back in the 80s.
6 cents a share? Come on, who buys this crap?
Well, I mean, honestly, mostly schmucks.
Or, unfortunately, I think the GameStop fiasco was a little bit of a pump and dump.
All these people were all of a sudden interested in making money in the stock market.
The losses for short sellers were in the tens of billions of dollars.
It appears like Roaring Kitty did sell. I made a whole video hoping that it was an activist play, but it doesn't look like it turned out that way. And then my personal favorite ward against financial scam, if it sounds too good to be true, I'm immediately suspicious. The promise of high returns with little or no risk is a classic sign of fraud. And if someone is flexing hard on yachts or private planes to try to sell you that idea, you're probably being sold a scam. Fun fact, that's a favorite technique of Richard Overum to find financial scammers. In the article it says if he sees people posing on Instagram with yachts or cars that cost hundreds of thousands of dollars,
you got a nice house,
while also trying to raise money, he says bells immediately go off for him. He's quoted as saying they just seem to be too good to be true.
I just keep adding my income. 20,000, 30,000, they just keep going and going.
And he's noted that he peruses so many accounts focused on ostentatious living that his algorithm is now flooded with images of absolutely over-the-top lifestyles.
Let's get it. Hop off a 16 passenger, this a G5, no, this not a challenger.
Which are themselves worthy of further investigation, and that he has found so many leads this way. So, besides knowing the historic playbook of scammers, and being aware that if we're going to take advice, we need to make sure that they're operating as fiduciaries, there's one last thing we have to do, which is destigmatizing the victims of financial fraud. Because let's face it, none of us are invulnerable to financial fraud. Despite being an investor for over 10 years and a bit of a finance nerd, I almost found myself in a fraud. When I first got out of the military, I used some of the money that I had saved and grown through investing to take a gap year and ride around the country on a motorcycle. Since I obviously needed health insurance to do this, I started shopping around. I cannot tell you how close I was to getting wrapped up in a health insurance scam. I was about to give the guy my credit card when I just said, "Hey, this doesn't seem right to me." And then he said something really explicit and hung up on me. I remember when he hung up, I just kind of stood there in silence for a moment thinking, holy shit, I almost just got scammed. And on something like health insurance, in a situation in which I'd be riding hundreds of miles a day on a motorcycle, a very dangerous thing. If I didn't have my health insurance really squared away, how freaking dangerous could that have been? So we're all navigating this together. Let's talk more openly about financial scams. Heck, let's talk more openly about money. I made a video detailing someone whom I wouldn't call an outright fraudster, Robert Kiyosaki, but what I would say is he peddles really, really risky and dangerous investing advice. You can check it out here if you'd like. And thanks again to our Patreons. Your support means the world to us and really is helping us stay independent. If you'd like to join, there'll be a link to our Patreon in the description below, where you'll get access to our private Discord community with over 200 members, as well as early access to our Flank investing platform, which walks you through exactly how to research a company just like Warren Buffett. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.